Spider-Man fights to protect the Avengers in Spider-Man issue 2. This comic was written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Sarah Pichelli. This whole creative team have been writing, and they've been making Spider-Man for a long time, and they're one of my favorite creative teams, and they were born to write Spider-Man together. And so let's start off with the second issue of the all-new, all-different Spider-Man, which is still Miles Morales now. And we picked up from the last issue where Spidey, he defeated Blackheart for the first time, and Peter Parker Spider-Man shows up. So this is the continuation where Peter's like, whoa, did you do this? And Miles is like, oh, no, I definitely didn't do this. There was a demon somewhere. He's like, oh, yeah, that happens from time to time. And it's really Miles and Peter talking about, who's picking up the mantle of the Spider-Man and whether or not Peter's okay with that. Peter almost has like a bit of a vulnerable moment where he's like, am I able to change my mind? But even just when he's about to continue that thought, he gets attacked by Blackheart, who reappears, and then Miles has to take down Blackheart without the help of Peter, because Peter got knocked out. So it's just Miles and Captain America's shield, and he's fighting him off. And he goes invisible, and he hits him with like multiple venom blasts, and he just does that like so many different venom blasts from different angles, and like he throws a mailbox at him, and he just knocks him right out. And the crowd goes crazy. The Avengers wake up, and they all start patting him on the back, and he's like, "Oh, nerdgasm." And there's this really interesting conflict that happens where a cop is like, "Everyone, I need everyone to calm down right now," or he's pointing a gun at Miles, and he's like, "I don't know who you are." And then Peter shows up, and he's like, "He's Spider-Man. You know that." And so it's almost like Peter handing over the mantle to Miles in a more concrete fashion, and it's really Peter's acceptance. And of course, Miles is like, "Yeah, did it, crushed it, nailed it." So Miles goes back to Genki, and he's all freaking out, like, "Oh man, I met the Avengers, and Cap said I was a cool guy, and I met Tony Stark, and I fought a demon, and that's creepy." And there's this YouTube clip that Genki shows him, and there's this girl, she's like a vlogger, she's freaking out because there was a tear in Miles, like his I guess his mask, his mask on his face, and it showed a skin tone, right? So it's like, oh, the new Spider-Man's brown. He's a kid of color. This is huge. And then Miles is like a little bit upset about this because, I think he has a good point, is like, she says, "Oh, I'm so excited about the black Spider-Man. Isn't that great? Like represent black Spider-Man, like, minorities, this is great." And Miles is like, "Well, I don't want to be just the black Spider-Man. I want to be Spider-Man." And it's a good point. And he's like, "Well, first off, I'm half Hispanic, so this, I gotta tell this girl something." But there's even more talk about. We cut to a warehouse, well, not a warehouse, like an apartment, and we see Black Cat. She's like doing one-handed push-ups, and she's listening to the news. And they're talking about how, like, oh, if Spider-Man's showing up, what if the old villains come back and they have ideas of, like, a second win? And obviously that's what they're setting up, that Black Cat is, like, coming for a second win, trying to maybe take a shot at Miles. So when Miles, he returns home, and his dad's like, "Ooh, you're in trouble right now." And he's like, "Well, is Mom gonna, chew me out?" He's like, "No, it's your grandmother." And it's Miles' mom. She shows up, and I think her name's Gloria. And he's like, "Listen." Oh, she says, "Face it, Tigre. You're about to get a big old kick in the cola." So that's where the comic ends. So really setting up like classic Spider-Man stories of, like, he's only 16, and he's I think he's gonna get grounded next episode or next issue. So that's interesting to see. Classic Spider-Man problems. So that's it for the issue. I think I'd give it like an 8.5. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, the art is just on point. Sarah Pichelli just kills it. I like the interaction with the Avengers and Peter, and it's the passing of the torch. So now that we have that, it's sort of, the series is clear to go on from there. And the whole interaction with the vlogger and Miles' stance on him he wants to be the Spider-Man and not just the black Spider-Man. So that all the subject matter is actually really interesting, and I enjoyed it. So stay tuned. I'll be coming back with a review of issue 3, and I can't wait to read it.